Alright. Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to our Great Ace Attorney. Susato has arrived back in London in time to join us for second day of investigation. Hooray! Alright, let's go. Oh, this room. It's been too long. It hasn't changed in the slightest, though. And it's been some 6 months, hasn't it? That's a long time for things to stay so familiar. I didn't know when you might return, and I wanted everything to be as you left it. But it has been some 6 months, it's true. So is your father alright, Susie? What happened? My father? Yes, Professor Mikotoba. I mean, it was half a year ago, but that's why you went back to Japan. Because of the telegram you received saying he'd fallen ill with a very high fever for some unknown reason. That's right. So I was surprised to learn you'd be coming back so soon. Surprised but happy. I think I wrote about it in my letter to you, that it was all a trick. My father is in fine health, and I'm obviously very relieved about that. Well, we're all delighted to have you back. It was quite by accident that I've been able to return to Europe, actually. It's because of a very grand conference called the International Forensic Science Symposium. The International Forensic... That's the same symposium Lord Strongheart mentioned. Anyway, I've arrived safe and sound, and all that matters is that I'm here now. After all, I haven't yet fulfilled my promise to you, Iris. Oh. You must tell us everything that happened while you were back in Japan. Yes, of course, I shall. And there's one other thing. Something you wrote in your letter that particularly grabbed my attention. About you-know-who. About Kazuma. I know. I'll tell you all that I can. But first, take a look at this. You're still taking good care of that armband, I see. I'm so pleased. Oh yes, it feels like it wouldn't be me without it now, to be honest. Oh dear. There seems to be a thread coming loose just there, look. I'd be only too happy to mend it for you, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, thank you. I must have scraped it against something again. I'm always doing that. Then take better care of it, please. It was all going so well, until I ruined it. Here, take a look at this. About this paper, Miss Susato. Yes, it's all about the great exhibition. I've been dreaming about it, you know. I was sorry that you were going to miss it when you were called back to Japan. So was I. I felt desperately unlucky. But here I am, back in London while it's underway. It's a dream come true. Perhaps you're not as unlucky as you thought then. Once we've helped Professor Harebrain out of this terrible situation, we should all explore it together. And of course, we must invite the Professor's good friend Lord Van Zieks as well. Your luck might not stretch that far. Alright, do you have anything else? Well, they know what, it's fine, I think. Alright. When I first arrived back in Japan, I really thought I'd never be allowed to return to Britain. But curiously, after that awful trial at the Supreme Court, Father's mood changed entirely. The awful trial? Oh yes, for the murder of Giselle Brett. Ooh, you dressed as a man then, didn't you, Susie? Oh, well, yes. Since women are forbidden in the courtroom, I had no choice. Wow, amazing! I wish I'd seen it. Don't you, Runo? Yes, I suppose so. I want to play at being a lawyer now. I could wear a false mustache, maybe. I don't think any mustache could hide the fact that you're just 10 years old, Iris. There's something else I've been wanting to ask you, Miss Susato. It's about the real reason why Professor Mikotoba summoned you back to Japan. You said in your letter it was something to do with that convict's loot you found in Mr. Natsume's lodgings. That's right. The very large dog collar we found with the bee emblem on it. It seems Mr. Natsume included the drawing of the collar in the report he submitted about his time in Britain. I understand that when Father saw the report, he turned as white as a sheet. Why would that be then? Father came to Britain himself, of course, to study. It was some time ago now, but he stayed for 6 years. I can only imagine that something must have happened during that time. But if he refuses to tell me what it was, then I intend to find the answers for myself. And I've decided that I, for one, won't keep any more secrets. Oh, Susie. That's a very meaningful look Susato's giving Iris there. Yeah, it's to do with, it's to do with the Hound of the Baskervilles. You know, that story she's hiding. Lord Strongheart mentioned something about the symposium, too. I think he said that investigative authorities from 40 different countries would attend. Yes, and from Japan, my father and Judge Jigoku have been invited. It's something of an honor, I believe. Well, Professor Mikotoba is the leading expert in forensic medicine in our country, after all. But who's the other person you mentioned? A judge, did you say? Yes, His Excellency Judge Seishiro Jigoku. You've met him, Mr. Naruto. Last year, in the Supreme Court. You can possibly have forgotten. That terrible trial of yours when you were accused of murder. Yes, I try to think of that as a positive turning point in my life these days. Well, it was Judge Jigoku who presided over that trial. If I'm perfectly honest, I'd be happy never to see that man's face again in my life. Oh, well anyway, as father was invited to the symposium, he agreed to me returning to Britain too. He won't actually arrive until next month, but, well, I couldn't wait. So I pleaded with him, and in the end he agreed to me going on ahead. Yes, about the symposium. It seems as though Lord Strongheart has put in an awful lot of work to make it happen. It's obviously very important. I believe it is, yes. As I understand it, Lord Strongheart organized the entire event himself. I think he's hoping that by achieving exceptional results, he'll get the job of Attorney General, the most senior position in the British justice system. He's hoping to use his power to create the world's finest policing institution. That's what Father said anyway. Apparently, it's Lord Strongheart's lifelong ambition. Does Professor Mikotoba know Lord Strongheart personally then, I wonder? Actually, Lord Strongheart gave me a long speech all about this very subject only yesterday, but I sort of lost the will to live early on and didn't really listen to much of it. How trying for you. So he's not here yet, I guess. Yeah, he'll be here next month. Fair enough. Giselle Brett. The woman whose unforgivable actions ended in me being wrongly accused of a crime I didn't commit. The murder of Dr. John H. Wilson. Yes, Giselle Brett. That's a name I won't forget for as long as I live. The extraordinary thing is, though, it seems it's a name we should all forget. Sorry? Since the incident, our government's intelligence services have been investigating Miss Brett. But it turns out that an Englishwoman by the name of Giselle Brett didn't actually exist. It didn't exist? But how can that be? It was a pseudonym. Her real name was Shin. And she wasn't a visiting student either. That was a front. Shin. Yeah, that letter in 1-5 at the end, one of the telegram names, A Shin. Asashin? Really? Don't tell me. A front? Who on earth was she then? Miss A Shin. Her name is literally all intelligence services have been able to ascertain about her. Nobody knows why or even how she came to be in Japan. It's a complete mystery. But that makes no sense. It's no easy task to be accepted as a foreign student anywhere. What could the woman have been up to? I'm afraid I don't really know. The only thing we can be sure of is that she had some business in our country that we don't yet understand. Assassinating somebody, I suppose. With a name like that. That's about it. That's about as clear as the killer. You know? And now she's been killed. While all the questions surrounding her existence remain unanswered. I'm afraid so. A Shin. Who on earth was she? And why do I feel as though I've heard that name before somewhere? Yeah, we did. It was in the telegram. After my friend Ray's trial, the reporter who actually killed Miss Brett said something very strange. I know the truth. I know you had a hand in what went on, in that visiting student's fate. Nobody here in Japan knows anything about it. They don't know that the guy never made it to England, and he died on that steamship, and that he'll never... Obviously, I couldn't ask him to elaborate at the time. But later, I visited the man in his prison cell and asked him what he was going to say about Kazuma-sama. And what did you learn? After he died on the voyage to Great Britain, his body should have been unladen at the port of Hong Kong and passed into the care of the consultate staff there. Should have been? Well, it turns out that his body never arrived. It just disappeared. What? Kazuma's body vanished? Our government tried to cover the fact up, it seems. They erected a grave in the cliffs by our hometown. Except, Kazuma-sama isn't there. Did Professor Mikotoba know about this? Yes, it would seem that he did. But he didn't tell me. We're still investigating what happened to Kazuma-sama's body as we speak. I have a pretty good idea where he is. I have a pretty good idea where he is. I mean, yeah, it's kind of obvious, right? It does line up. One, Naruhodo kind of recognizes him. Two, he's good in a fight. Three, he doesn't want to speak. That's kind of suspicious. Like, you know. Like, yeah, like Naruhodo would recognize it and stuff. But hang on. But he's working on the orders of Strongheart, right? He's working... Well, wait, he was assigned by Strongheart under Van Ziegs. So Strongheart has to be aware of Asogi's identity then. Interesting. So he knows, like... I'm guessing Mikotoba knows as well then. I mean, Strongheart and Mikotoba probably know about Asogi's survival and they're covering it up for some reason. Yeah, Kazuma's name was also in the telegram. Together with A Shin. Wait, hang on. I just had a crazy idea. Chat, hear me out. I might be completely off the walls here, but... Giselle Brett is an exchange student, so-called. Right? And Asogi was also going to be an exchange student. What if that's related? Yeah, what if that's related? And this was a communication telegram between Britain and Japan. Between Strongheart and Mikotoba, I guess? How are they related? Yeah, that's a good question though. So we got there were 4 names, right? 4 names in the telegram. And one of them was Wilson. Giselle Brett killed Wilson. The other names in there are Kazuma and Tobias Gregson. Strongheart said something about Asogi's real purpose. Can't be, can it? Really? Was Asogi supposed to come in here and assassinate Gregson? Is this like some grand conspiracy? Is that what Strongheart's referring to? Like Asogi's real purpose. He was actually here to assassinate somebody. Like Giselle Brett was supposed to assassinate somebody. That seems a little out there, but I don't know. That's the vibe I'm getting. That's the pattern I'm getting. But you know, I could be completely off base. But still, that is really curious. Especially since, like, yeah, Strongheart would be okay. That means Strongheart and Mikotoba are collaborating on something. They sent a telegram. It involves Brett, so that means they know about it. They're committing criminal conspiracy to murder somebody? Murder 2 people? Using 2 other people? And Van Zieks isn't aware of it. That's why they're keeping things under wraps here, because Asogi's supposed to be dead. And we just got Naruhodo instead. And Naruhodo isn't in on the plan, so they just let him do whatever he wants. And then Asogi turns up alive, but now he has to carry out his secret mission while undercover? Maybe? Yeah, I don't know where this is going though. I just don't believe it. And what is this acute feeling of apprehension I have all of a sudden? Yeah, this is potential. There's a lot of espionage going on here. Well, actually, no. Well, I might be overthinking it. I think, yeah, I just thought of it. I think the more likely proposition. Yeah, I just thought of something else. The more likely proposition. Maybe Brett was supposed to assassinate all of them. You know? I mean, because she's the one that's called... she's the one that's the assassin. So... Yeah, I think that makes more sense. So... Brett's hit list was Wilson, Gregson, and Asogi. For some reason, they wanted Asogi dead. But he didn't actually die because of the unrelated accident on the steamship. I guess. But then why would he be wandering around underneath Lord Strongheart? Maybe they had a change of plans. I don't know. Yeah, actually, yeah. Maybe he was originally a murder victim. Sorry, not a murder victim. He was a target for assassination. But he found out about it and he's turned it around and he's working as a double agent? Maybe. I don't know. I think that's a more likely possibility, yeah. I mean, after he died, we never saw his body again, did we? Could it be? Could it be that he's actually still alive? Stop it, Mr. Naruhodo. It's too much to bear. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. Just thinking about the possibility pains me. So very much. Cast your mind back for a moment, Mr. Naruhodo. When Kazuma-sama was discovered, Mr. Sholmes was there, wasn't he? And he definitely examined the body. I remember it clearly. Ah, you're right. So if Kazuma hadn't actually been dead at all, it would mean that Mr. Sholmes had lied to us. But there's no reason why he would possibly have done such a thing. Hmm. Is there though? Hmm. And now I'm beginning to wonder. Oh, hang on. Maybe Mikotoba and Strongheart aren't even aware that this mysterious dude is Kazuma. Maybe, maybe Sherlock Holmes set him up with a disguise. That's another possibility. There's a lot of my mind is running wild right now. This is definitely an interesting direction the story is taking. I suppose that's true. Yes. The idea that he might still be alive somewhere. It wants to fill me with hope, but I can't let it. Because if it turned out not to be true, then I'll be back at the bottom of that awful pit of despair again. I'm terrified of what that might do to me. Oh, Miss Susato. I know she's given the idea the thought it deserves. It's Susato-san we're talking about, after all. So I probably shouldn't push it now. Yeah, I'm genuinely not sure where this conspiracy is gonna go. There is some manner of conspiracy afoot, but the exact nature of it. Well, Miss Susato, do you see this? You have such great expectation in your eyes, Mr. Naruhodo, but I'm afraid nothing particularly useful comes to mind at all. Oh, sorry. I'm not sure what I was expecting, really. Take a look at this crossbow. This was used to shoot down the balloon, wasn't it? Yes, with a flaming arrow. It's quite a formidable weapon. I'm quite accomplished with a longbow myself, though. No, really. If you were to balance an apple on your head, Mr. Naruhodo, I'm quite confident I could hit it from a good 50 meters away. Quite confident, you say? Does the apple necessarily have to be on my head? You can't move just yet, so I'm guessing we have to show her something else. What about the autopsy report? Nope. Oh, examine the room? Okay. It's not presenting. Alright. Is it time to dot in the Daruma? I see your Daruma still has only one eye filled in. Well, we agreed that it's something we'd do together, didn't we? We could do it right now if you'd like. I'll be happy with that. I rather like the anticipation, I think, Mr. Naruhodo. We're never gonna dot that thing in, are we? Alright, Iris. What you got to say? It must be about a year ago now. I wrote a really long story based on some of my father's old notes. It's about one of Hurley's greatest exploits. I called it The Hound of the Baskervilles. But then Mr. Sholmes forbade you from publishing it, and put the manuscript somewhere nobody could get their hands on it. So nobody knows anything about it apart from Hurley and I. For some reason, you knew the title of it, didn't you, Susie? Oh, it sounds so exciting. The Hound of the Baskervilles. I should love to read it. And you wouldn't tell me how you come to know it. Yes, but I made you a promise that I would explain one day, didn't I? I think it's time. Oh. More lore drops, huh? I'm only sorry I've had to keep it from you for so long, Iris. It was completely by accident that I came to know the title of your manuscript, Iris. It was a short while before we left Japan. I was cleaning Father's study and I saw something on his writing desk. A large box of papers. There was a label affixed to the box that was written in English. It read, The Hound of the Baskervilles. What? My Baskerville story? Of course, I had no idea what it was at the time. My father came in and Susato, what are you doing? Oh, Father. Did you look at those papers? No, I simply read the label, that's all. Well, put it out of your mind. Sorry? Forget that you ever saw it, and certainly don't tell anybody else about this. Do you understand? Damn, now the kindly old professor is sus. I mean, Strongheart being a little sus, well, I mean, it's not too surprising, I guess. He does have a little bit of that, Damon Gaunt energy. I mean, a little bit. He hasn't actually done anything wrong, I'm just basing it off his vibe. But I mean, him and Mikotoba now seem to be engaged in a conspiracy, so now they're both sus. But Mikotoba looked like a kindly old man, you know? But then again, Ace Attorney, the actual, like, really well-hidden villains are really well-hidden and they're hard to tell. So, you know. Who knows? Character design can tell you a lot about someone, doesn't it? Yeah. But what was Iris' manuscript doing in Japan? I have no idea. But when I heard Iris mention the word Baskerville that day, the title just slipped out. I'm willing to bet it belonged to Mr. John H. Wilson, that it was one of his things, one of his belongings. Right? I mean, because it's clearly, like, he's related to Iris. He's Iris' father, right? So, maybe that's what he was murdered for. And Mikotoba stole it. Huh. Yeah, that does seem very sus. I would never have guessed that it was an unpublished account of one of Mr. Shome's exploits. When I returned to Japan, I asked Father to explain, but he refused to answer any of my questions. And there was no sign of the big box in his office. Yeah, that's really sus. Having so much fun watching me puzzle it out. Yeah. I mean, it's more fun this way, right? Me talking about my theories out loud while playing. That's half of the fun of doing a let's play of a mystery series. You gotta like voice your theories as they go. Try and guess what's gonna happen. That's really all I know about it. I've no doubt that Father has a very good reason for being so secretive about it, but still. I made up my mind to explain myself, to both of you. Well, thank you for being so honest, Susie. So, Mr. Naruhodo, I'm ready to start investigating if you are. I've committed every detail about the case to memory. And Arias has told me about the disturbing happenings at the Waxwork Museum as well. So, you're fully abreast of the situation already, Mr. Sato. I'd expect nothing less, to be honest. I would think our first port of call should be to investigate this Mr. Drebber, the engineer responsible for building the elaborate machine that was used to effect this extraordinary trick. Yes, a conjurer of sorts by the sound of it, and well known in the fields of science and magic. Then we need to go and arrest him. Well, yes. He must know the truth behind this case, so I agree we really do need to find the man. It sounds like it's a case of tracking someone down. Which is a job for the police, or a great detective. Are we supposed to guess who she might be thinking of? We don't have much time, so we need to get started straight away, I think. Good idea. Well, best of luck then. Oh, you're not coming today. I'm going to Brixton Road shortly for the herb market. But let me know later how you get on, won't you? That was a little abrupt. The pull of the herb market must be strong. Or, you know, Holmes must be there. And we're gonna go grab him. Well, we can drop by Holmes' suite for Susato to look at. Let her reminisce. Reminisce? 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 What? Chad, how do you say that word? Why am I randomly forgetting how to pronounce certain English words? Oh, Susato doesn't have anything to say. Well, I mean, if we look at something, She'll probably say something about that. I finally managed to remember this behemoth's name. The Great Analytiscope. I don't think it was here when I left for Japan, was it? Oh, is that right? Yes, because it was with the pawnbroker. Ah, of course. Oh, that's given me a wonderful idea. I could pawn everything that's on your desk. The office will be tidy at last. Don't even joke about it, Mrs. Sato. You are joking, aren't you? Okay, yeah, we just gotta go look at it. Yeah, I know how to spell it. I don't actually remember how to pronounce it. Alright. Oh, we can't go see Baroque. Alright. Let's go say hi to Strongheart. I'm curious now. He's a little sus. Oh, who's that? Is that a new character? That's a new character. Oh, who's that standing beside Lord Strongheart? I wonder. I've never seen her before. Ah, the young champion of the court. They had some success this morning, I understand. And you've thrown the entire government into disarray as a result. Oh, you mean because of Professor Harebrain's experiment? Sham science being demonstrated at London's Great Exhibition. The country's been made to look foolish, and now politicians are scrabbling to respond. Lord Van Ziggs is in Whitehall as we speak, given an emergency briefing. Oh dear, I didn't mean to cause any trouble. None of this is your responsibility. The government is entirely to blame for having been taken in. The special dispensation that prevents investigation at the scene will be announced later today. Once that happens, my forensic investigation team will move in and deal with that scrap metal in no time. It's scrap metal now, is it? Until later then, Lord Strongheart. Yes, thank you. Who was that? That was Dr. Courtney Sith. Is that Welsh? Is that a Welsh name? Do I gotta pronounce it differently? Hang on. Scythe. Oh, it's Anglo-Saxon. It's Anglo-Saxon, and it's literally Scythe. Okay, Dr. Courtney Scythe, Scotland Yard's esteemed chief coroner. She's leading the forensic investigation team's handling of this case. Oh, right. Ah, the coroner. Okay. Why is the coroner a character though? Normally they're just a background, like they're just a background detail. The coroner is an actual character. And considering we're dealing with a case where the body is going weird places. Huh. Now I'm thinking about the possibility of the body being tampered with. Because, like, I don't know. Why would the coroner be a character of a character model if they're not a major character? Or at least like a character, it's not a player in the case. Interesting. She was just delivering her report about the victim, in fact. Oh, I see. About Mr. Assman. Following the outcome of the trial earlier, I asked the coroner's office to re-evaluate its findings. Shme. I don't have time to tell you what she concluded. If you want to know, you have to ask her directly. You can find her in the forensics laboratory. Ah, right. Now, what were you here to see me about? I can give you 7 minutes and 39 seconds of my time. So he's not running quite so spectacularly late anymore. What exactly is the forensic investigation team that you mentioned before? The British Empire's police force must become the most exemplary in the world. For that to happen, it's imperative that we embrace forensic science and everything it has to offer. I first created the forensic investigation team a year ago now, unofficially of course, to pave the way. Goodness, a year ago. At next month's symposium, I intend to present the results of their work to the world. Once I do that, the House of Lords will be powerless to oppose the creation of a full-scale forensics division. And once that happens, the position of Attorney General will be mine, and criminals will suffer dearly. What do you mean? For too long, those scoundrels have made a mockery of our legal system with false evidence and bribes. But London's scum is about to be rounded up and burnt into fires of hell. He's definitely a crusading type, huh? Okay. I intend to see to it personally. Alright, that's interesting. So if he is a villain, because he could be a villain, the way he's going about it, he's definitely sounding like a villain. He's not quite corrupt police. It seems more like he's police brutality. He's the type of... Yeah. Wow, he's a very modern... he's a surprisingly modern police department villain, if that's the case. He wants to grab all the criminals and like, stop resisting! That's the energy I'm getting from him. By creating the finest police force the world has ever known to protect our honor and our future. Look at those eyes. He means every word. Dr. Scythe is an extremely reliable coroner. When I officially establish the forensics division at Scotland Yard, she will run it as my right-hand woman. Now then, speaking of the symposium, to speak October. Oh, yes, my lord. Your father should be on the high seas as we speak, making his way here to represent the Empire of Japan. Yes, that's right. I understand he will arrive at the beginning of next month. Are you acquainted, Lord Strongheart? With Professor Mikotoba, I mean. It was many years ago now, but yes. I remember Dr. Mikotoba very well. Sus. If my memory serves, it was some 15 years ago now that your father came to Britain as a visiting student. It was the year I was born. So yes, 16 years ago in fact. Mikotoba was a young practitioner of forensic science, and Jigoku accompanied him as a young, promising judge. The punctiliousness and politeness of the Japanese at the time impressed us greatly. Not that I wish to imply impoliteness or carelessness on your part in any way. I didn't think that you were. Dr. Mikotoba studied forensics at one of London's large hospitals. St. Sinners, if I'm not mistaken. Wow. With a name like that, extra sus. Dr. Scythe was also there then, as it happens. Saints and Sin... Oh, wait. It's a pun. It's a stupid pun. Saints and Sinners. Then, Dr. Scythe knows my father, does she? She was a young medical assistant at the time, so I doubt their paths crossed regularly. But I've no doubt they knew each other superficially. After all, Dr. Mikotoba was here studying the subject for some 6 years in total. 6 years. That's a long time to be studying abroad, isn't it? I lived with my grandmother in those years. So he left his newly born daughter behind and went overseas for 6 whole years. It was a rather turbulent time at home. Oh. Perhaps father wanted a reason to get away. What do you mean? Why? Well, clearly something was going on at the time. I wanted to ask you about Lord Van Zeeks, actually. I heard that his older brother was killed some years ago by a mass murderer known as the Professor who targeted nobles and royalty. Is that right? You Japanese are a thorough lot. You've done your research well. Yes. And you could say it was that very incident that gave rise to the Reaper. What? Why? When his brother, Clint Van Zeeks, was murdered, it was just after young Baroque had graduated from the University of London and become a prosecutor. When obvious criminals who managed to evade conviction in court started disappearing, rumors quickly spread throughout the capital. Londoners started to say that wherever Baroque Van Zeeks went, the ghost of his dead brother wasn't far behind. Oh my word! So, Lord Van Zeeks isn't the Reaper. It's the ghost of his brother? Ever since that time, he became a very aloof figure in London's legal circles. Interesting. Oh yes, Lord Strongheart. Go ahead. It's about Professor Harebrain's experimental machine. We'd like your permission to examine the remains, if possible. Are you well versed in science, then? Not in the slightest. In fact, you could say I was barely aware of the subject at all until recently. Well, the special dispensation legally preventing investigation of the machine is currently being annulled. Within a few hours, Dr. Sai's team of forensic experts will begin their own investigation. But I suppose until then, there's no harm in you looking at it, the wreckage, as long as you touch nothing. Thank you. Being able to look at it is better than nothing. And I'll be able to see it too. The time is up. You'll have to excuse me now, I'm afraid. My next engagement calls. We are extremely sorry to have troubled you when you are so busy, my lord. I have important matters to attend to in preparation for the symposium, you understand. The lore is slowly being doled out. The ghost of Enzeeks, eh? Alright, let's go say hi to Harebrain. What is he doing? Oh my word, he's gone cuckoo. What's he doing? He's... oh my! The whole wall of the cell is covered in mathematical equations! And he's still writing more now. Professor, sorry to interrupt. Oh, Miss Naruhodo. Who is this young lady? My name is Susato Mikotoba. I'm Miss Naruhodo's judicial assistant. It's a pleasure to meet you, Professor. Oh, if only I met a refined young woman like you sooner! None of this would have happened. No, that's not logical. That makes no sense at all. Oh dear, I'm sorry if my presence here upsets you. I owe you an apology too, Professor. I didn't manage to deliver what I promised you I would in court this morning. Oh no! No! The whole thing! The whole miserable affair. It all happened because I've been such a complete and utter clot! Professor Harebrain. What have you been working on in your cell? Oh! you mean that? Oh dear, how embarrassing. I was suddenly struck by an idea, you see. I simply had to write it down. The wall was all I had to hand. Oh, is it some new hypothesis? Something to surpass super high voltage instantaneous kinesis, maybe? A Metal Gear? No, actually. This is my autobiography. Your autobiography? How I was diddled and fiddled! By Albert Harebrain. Don't put it that way, sir. Sir, please. Please do not go with that title, sir. I found I could represent my odd fortunes with only my odd numbers in an ambitious set of simultaneous equations. Really? I'm going to have to pay back all the loans I took for the kinesis machine, you see. So it's going to be a new serial publication from the next one. Part 1, an odd birth and odd upbringing. You can't beat the man's optimism, that's for sure. I see. Well, for now, would you mind if we talk a little more about the case? Oh yes, yes, of course. I'll be working through the numbers. I was diddled! I was fiddled! By the pair of them! Okay, show me on the card record where they diddled you. I can't believe I said that. Like, he started it! By Assman! And by that aloof engineer, Dripper! We're not going to have to sit through an explanation of all these equations, are we? Alright. Can you explain this? Oh, it doesn't have anything to say about the diagram. He submits the diagram. doesn't have anything to say about the tactical laser system. Alright, tell me about the screwdriver. Professor, do you recognize this? Oh, it's Andrew, my faithful friend. How have you been? Are you alright? Nobody's mistreated you, have they? Don't worry, he's being very well looked after. I always rub him with machine oil until he's gleaming. Right. And then, when I come to tighten the screw with him, he slips my hand and I can't do it. Haha, it's that age-old problem faced by driver valves the world over, isn't it? I really wouldn't know, I'm afraid. Doesn't have anything to say. What about this picture? Ugh. How could this have happened? It must feel awful. As well as a man losing his life, the crystal tower was pretty damaged too. I know what happened. It must have been that. That? The day before the demonstration, I had my usual meal of frankfurters at a hotel restaurant. When I paid the bill, there could be 3 shillings too much in change. Oh wait, yeah, he said that already. Okay, let's just get to the conversation. Everything I believed in has been turned on its head. My research, Mr. Asman, Kinesis machine, my hypothesis even. I'm sorry it's come to this. There was really no other way. No, it's not your fault. I wanted to protect my work, but in the end, there was nothing worth protecting. It was never my intention to deceive anyone. I didn't want to trick the public. No, of course you didn't. But in court this morning, I realized something. Oh? If you've done something wrong without knowing it, you've still done something wrong. Logically, it makes no difference if you were aware of it or not. Ignorance is a poor excuse. The blame still lies with me. Well, you're not wrong. It's negligence is what it is. You're not wrong. Oh, Professor. He believed in me this morning, you know. Baroque did. He believed in my hypothesis. Well, I think that was just a necessary factor in the prosecution establishing its case. No, Baroque wouldn't do something like that. I'm sure he genuinely believed it. Did he? I think I understand now. Why it was that he decided to take on the prosecution in my trial, I mean. After the terrible accident happened, nobody would believe in my hypothesis anymore. Not the police, not the prosecution service, not any lawyers even. I feel like I dealt some kind of finishing blow there. So if any other prosecutor had taken the case, if it was anyone other than Baroque, I'm sure the prosecution would have declared my hypothesis a complete and utter nonsense. And in that case, you would have been declared a fraud yourself, Professor. Exactly, which would have been a fate worse than death for me. But Baroque insisted that I was a proper man of science from start to finish. You think that's why he... I know him very well indeed. He's an extremely kind-hearted soul. But that extremely kind-hearted soul spent all morning trying to paint you as a murderer, didn't he? Well, admittedly, that part of the analysis appeared to have some flaws in it. And what about the whole Reaper side of things? How does that fit into the kind-hearted soul idea? Do you think he set out to trick me from the very start? I'm sorry to say, that does seem likely, yes. When I first met him, he introduced himself as a wealthy financier. He looked over the paper I'd written and said that my work would benefit all humanity and must be pursued. He was so enthused, he was so empathetic. But in reality, he was the mastermind of some vast criminal network, it seems. I still can't believe it. As the machine was essentially a set decoration for some stage magic. It probably didn't require a large amount of investment, actually. But the scale of it wasn't just some small trick. It was a very elaborate feat of deception. Our young scientists are full of pop-up with their burgeoning ideas, full of zeal. But none of us have any money! We wanted to research, but we can't afford it. Many of us take on barely legal part-time work to try to earn just a few measly pennies to carry on. To go through all of that, only to be taken for a complete fool. It's too rotten to believe. It is, I agree. And that's why we have to find those responsible and bring them to justice. Mr. Asman is no more, of course, which leaves only the engineer. Mr. Enoch Trevor. Is he an engineer, or a magician, or a swindler? It was about a year ago when Mr. Asman first brought Trevor to meet me in my laboratory. Since then, I've met him many times to discuss details about the kinesis machine. But at no point did you have any inkling that he was just an illusionist. Oh, he definitely wasn't just an illusionist. What do you mean? He was a wealth of deep scientific knowledge. There's no question that the man's a genuine scientist. It's instantly apparent in the conversation. I see. But the wretched man deceived you, Professor. It's unforgivable. We must do everything we can to find him and bring him to justice. Are there no more clues you can give to us as to his whereabouts? I'm sorry. We only ever discussed the kinesis machine, nothing else. Although, just once, I did visit his workshop. What workshop? Trevor's enormous fabrication laboratory, where he constructed my great machine. Why didn't you mention this before? Enoch Trevor's workshop. There's every chance you might find a man there. So you've been to Trevor's place of work then? Yes, just once, you understand. It was an enormous place. Plenty of room to construct a kinesis machine, you see. Where can we find it? We have to go there at once. There's a good chance that we'll find Trevor there. Well, yes, definitely. I'm sure. As in, I'm sure you're not going to want to hear this. But I have absolutely no idea where the workshop is at all. I'm so sorry. I was more than half expecting that. You see, I was blindfolded in the carriage the entire way there. And you didn't find that suspicious? He blindfolded you? He wasn't taking any chances then. The place was incredible, the pinnacle of modern engineering. Even the oil he used was the very best, a special French machine oil that's impossible to obtain in Britain. This naive rocket. Ah, the indescribable sense of that imported oil. Perfumers across the world should forget their secret formulae and use that instead. So he is an idiot. What do you think, Mr. Sato? You ordered a machine for your next birthday? I never use any kind of perfume, Mr. Naruto, and I'm not sure I like the start of that. I don't suppose you know even part of the workshop's address, Professor? You don't have a business card from Mr. Trevor, for example. The man was clearly very cautious, Mr. Sato. I'm sure he would never have... Aha! Yes, I do! He gave me his business card once. It's right here, look! What? Let me see that. Throw out to get to the win, why don't you? Enoch Trevor, engineer. I'm afraid that's all it says. There's no address. No. Oh well, I can't say I'm surprised. Still, this could be useful. There's dark smudge here. I think perhaps it's machine oil. Ah yes, possibly. Professor Harewood mentioned something about the oil Mr. Trevor uses, didn't he? He said it was specially imported, very high quality oil that's impossible to obtain in Britain. Yes, that's right. But more importantly, it's more fragrant than the finest perfume. So, excuse me a moment. Oh, it doesn't appear to have any scent at all. Don't worry, I expect that's just because there's such a tiny amount in here. What's with the plus and minus? Wait, is it a magnet? No way the name card is a magnet. I mean, unlikely. That's not... That's stupid. The shitty handwritten business card. Yeah. Alright, let's go to the experimentation stage and poke around, I guess. Now's a good time. Doggo! I had no idea there were so many people in the world. I know what you mean. It's really packed here today. It feels as though it's taken us 2 hours just to make our way through the crowds to this point. Has it? I shut my brain down so I didn't really notice, to be honest. Gosh, I do wish I had your absence of mind sometimes, Mr. Naruhodo. There you are. I have a feeling you lot to show your mugs before long. Oh. Gregson. Oh, Inspector Gregson. I see you're hard at work as usual. Warm greetings to you. I do hope you've been keeping well since we last met. What's about the ceremony? We just saw each other in court this morning. Not you, Sunshine. The gentlewoman so loyally at your side. Oh! Why, thank you, Inspector. How good of you to notice. He might be a bit rough around the edges, but he's still a proper English gentleman at heart, I suppose. As you probably guessed, we were hoping to investigate the scene some more. Right. Well, that's the young trainee's domain. Oi! Get over here, Gina. She seems to be busy playing with a puppy. Probably giving it a traditional East End training. Gina! She's a police officer now? Amazing, isn't it? She's a good kid, actually. Heart's in the right place anyway. She's got a detection bug, if you ask me. Yep, I think she'll follow in my footsteps nicely. What do you mean? I'm being transferred. It's time for me to say toodaloo to London. Oh no, really? That's a bit sudden, isn't it? I had no idea. Where are you going to be posted then? We'll come to see how you're getting along. Not likely. But you're welcome to try. If you don't mind a trip to France, that is. To France? I'll be working in the Paris Police Prefecture. Should be right up my alley. But France? It's an entirely different country. I don't understand. Why would you be sent there? That's the way the adult works, Sunshine. But don't go poking your nose in where it's not wanted. I'm intending to take the kid with me when I go. What? You're taking Gina to Paris? Well, I can't leave her here in London. Who knows what become of her? I suppose he's worried she'd slip back into slipping her hands into people's pockets and purses. I don't think he's worried about her pickpocketing, Mr. Naruhodo. I think he's worried about the Reaper. Oh, of course. So that's playing on Inspector Gregson's mind too, is it? Anyway, I haven't mentioned any of this to Gina. So don't go blabbing, you hear me? No, of course not. I've gotta keep the dive and leave it safe and sound. Until all this is over, at least. Oi! Did you call me a bloomin' diving diva again? So you heard that, did you? Right, well. Any questions about the scene, you can put them to my capable Detective Diva here. Alright, you're the boss. Inspector Lestrade's in charge here now. I suppose I better keep my word and not mention anything about Paris. So, Gina, you got a new dog, have you? Isn't he great? Toby's his name. like Tobias Gregson? She named the dog after him? Oh, how delightful. He's absolutely adorable. Yes, the dog does seem lovely. But it's not so lovely Inspector Gregson that's playing on my mind, to be honest. Cute doggo. Yeah, everything's better with cute doggos. He's getting transferred though, is he? Now, that makes me wonder about the telegram now. What if I had it backwards? What if Gregson is an assassin and Asogi was an intended target? Yeah. Yeah, maybe like, I don't know. Yeah, maybe Wilson and Asogi were assassination targets, and Brett and Gregson were the assassins. Or some permutation thereof. Maybe he's being transferred to Paris because he has an assassination target in Paris. Or something, I don't know. Maybe that's related to the Reaper conspiracy, which is why he's like worried about Gina, because if he leaves Gina around, then maybe he's in on it and he doesn't want Gina to get caught up in it because he has a good heart. Or something, I don't know. Complicated. There's a lot of moving parts going on here now that I'm probably gonna look back on and it's gonna make sense. But yeah, right now I just have a bunch of wild goose theories. Gina. We were actually hoping that we could investigate the scene again. Eh, alright. If it's around here, you can do what you like. Oh, that's alright, is it? I'm gonna be playing with me new friend here. Oh yes, Toby. The machine that exploded must be at the top of those stairs, I presume. I haven't actually seen it yet, so if you don't mind. Sorry, I can't go up there, Suze. Oh. It's like I told Otto yesterday. Even I ain't allowed near that wreck. What's it called again? The reason we ain't supposed to touch it. The Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act. Is that what you were thinking of? That's the one! That's why only them lot are allowed to investigate it. What are they called again? The Forensic something? The Forensic Investigation Team. Is that what you were thinking of? That's the one, yeah! But isn't it the case that the special dispensation has been lifted? I think so. I don't really get it, to be truthful with you. Guess you're supposed to get permission from some bigwig or other, as far as I know. What was his name again? Lord Strange something. I'm not sure that's quite right, Gina. I think you mean Lord Strongheart, perhaps? That's the one, yeah! Apparently he's always watching the time or something. Actually, we've just recently been to see Lord Strongheart. Eh? You what? You met him? Last time the boss was called to go and see him. He waited for 3 hours at the Cove's office and came back sniveling. Tragic. Well, Lord Strongheart has given us permission to examine the scene, as long as we touch nothing. Oh yeah? Honestly. Alright then, go ahead. But if it turns out you're lying, it'll be the boss who gets it. He'll never eat another chip again in his life. So, you're still saying all this is above board, are you? I'm sure everything will be fine. That really would be tragic. Do you think he's going to get his fish and chips in Paris? Alright then, them's the stairs. Off you go. Oh, thank you, Gina. It's great, weren't it? I had a right laugh. It was a new one on me, that. You know, being caught and not spending the whole time worrying I'm about to be found out. You did keep an awful lot of secrets in all your previous court appearances, didn't you? Yeah, and all those made things hard for me every single time and all. Just doing my job, Gina. Watching some nails get in the neck of a lot of fun, actually. It was amazing when you showed that dodgy professor's dodgy experiment was a total fix. The dodgy professor, as you put it, Gina, is Mr. Naruhodo's client. Yes, I'm starting to wish he wasn't, though. It's the boss I feel sorry for. Sent off to do the impossible. What do you mean? He's supposed to arrest that other cop, ain't he? And it's time for tomorrow and all. You know, the dodgy engineer. What's his name again? Mr. Drebber, you mean? And not Drebber. That's the one, yeah? Is this a new catchphrase? So the police are looking for this mysterious man with the black monocle. I guess they would be. It's putting too much on the boss if you ask me. He says he's giving him guttache. Oh dear. But I do wonder if that isn't actually from all the fried food. To Scotland Yard are trying to track down Mr. Enoch Drebber. I wonder if they had any luck. He's really funny looking, but 2 eyes what don't match. Saw a glimpse of a picture of him earlier. Oh, heterochromia. I mean, I didn't actually pinch it or nothing. The old devil's got it. Sorry, who? You know, Scarlet Reaper would always glutton down glasses with their blood-red plonk. Ah, Lord Venzeeks. He's always added in for me, that cove. Don't know what he's always scowling about mine. Probably would have been a pretty good boss as it goes. She'd rather be the Reaper's apprentice than the detective's trainee. The way I see it, the choice was between a chip-guzzling detective and a chalice-plugging demigod. You're equally badly off with both. Suppose you're right. I hadn't thought of it like that. Glad we put that one to bed. Anyway, the point is, everyone at the odds dead set on finding the fishy engineer. But there don't seem to be no clues to go on, so they're stuck. There's nothing that can lead us to Trevor at all. Where'd you find the little mutt then, Gina? Oi! Don't be so flaming rude, Otto. Slight overreaction, don't you think? He ain't no mutt, alright? Toby's... how'd they put it? Oh yeah, a bonafide detective. Sorry? I'll give him a proper title and everything. It's Chief Inspector Toby to you. More senior than Inspector Gregson, is he? Ooh, so he's a police dog, is he? The police recruit dogs now? I've heard that they are already being used officially in Germany as part of the city policing. They're used for chasing criminals and such like. They have a wonderful sense of smell, after all. I have a fairly good sense of smell myself, as it happens. I can tell undergarments that have been freshly laundered from undergarments that haven't. Ah, it's nothing compared to this little fella, Otto. Or really. According to what the boss said, once Toby here's got a good whiff of your drawers, he can chase that scent to the other side of the world. What? To the other side of the world? You mean, he can swim? Mr. Naruhodo, I think you may have missed the point, by rather a wide margin. I just can't believe this little dog has such an incredible skill. I'm telling you, Otto, there are gonna be more and more dogs doing their bit for the police in future. Shoutouts to Missile. Yes, I agree. Right, one of these days they'll be barking orders at us lot, not the other way around. Oh dear. Sorry, Gina. I don't think I agree with your vision quite that much. Well, anyway, whatever you think about that, Toby Air is Britain's first police dog. I found him down the East End the other day. Someone had just chucked him out on the street. There you go. I knew she lifted him from somewhere. Oh, Gina, you're such a kind-hearted soul, aren't you? To children and to animals. Alright. Time to head up, I guess. Although, let's take a look at this real quick. Here's the scorching on the ground that you mentioned. Yes, and there's what's left of the green balloon's envelope. All clear evidence of the balloon that exploded on the day of the incident. Poor Professor Harebreen. I do feel sorry for him that his dreams have been shattered like this. Someone to well and truly burst his bubble, as it were. Ouch. I'm a bad person. Why did Holmes get away with it? Yeah, I'm assuming we can give the business card to Gina and Toby can probably sniff it out. But I want to look around upstairs first. We'll have to come back down later anyway. The Crystal Tower. I can't believe I'm seeing it in such close proximity with my own eyes. You've really been looking forward to the great exhibition, haven't you, Mr. Sato? Oh yes, when I found out that I had to return to Japan, I'm afraid I cursed my luck. And here you are, back in London, gazing up at the magnificent tower. I know. Perhaps I was wrong to curse my luck so harshly. What a shame that the symbolic landmark of the Great Exhibition has been damaged like that. Yes, unfortunately, the birdcage crashed in the most prominent position possible. It's the gods giving us a warning, if you ask me. Man must travel under his own steam and not cut corners of instantaneous kinesis. But imagine what might have happened if the birdcage had landed in a slightly different location. The death toll could have been far worse. So I think perhaps it was a blessing in disguise. Well, the gods are benevolent, obviously. I did say it was just a warning. Man must travel under his own steam, or next time birdcages will rain down on all of you. Your faith is much stronger than I realized. Well, how do you think I passed the entrance exam for Yumi University? It wasn't by studying alone. Bless. Balloons. Oh look, a flying balloon! I've never seen one in the flesh before. I can't understand how they can fly. And so high up as well. Oh, but think of the view, Mr. Naruhodo. You must be able to see for miles and miles. I don't think of it, and it terrifies me. I mean, it would be certain death if we fell out. I'm sure they're perfectly safe. After all, they've been invented by some of the brightest minds in the world. Let's not forget that we know at least one has exploded. I'm sure there are other ways to fly. Fair enough. Let's lead up to experimentation stage to see what we can find out. Right, time to poke around a bit. They were making planes, yeah, I suppose. Oh my! So this is the machine that was used to deceive people into thinking instantaneous kinesis had taken place. Yes, that's right. Or rather, it was the machine. It's a little worse for wear at the moment. What extraordinary lengths Professor Harebrine went to in order to obtain the research grant? No. The professor was strict as well. He didn't know anything about it. Yes, of course. It is amazing though, isn't it? The scale of the whole affair is so very British. You're right about that. You never see such a grand deception in Japan, that's for sure. Nah. Troop Grammary! Curse you, Troop Grammary! Oh look, is that Lord Van Zeeks? So, I think we're more or less done here, aren't we? Shall we, Mr. Sato? Already? He is the Reaper, remember? We do want to keep our distance, I think. But we have permission to be here. From the top. We're perfectly well allowed to investigate this machine. As long as we don't touch anything. From the top? Do you mean Lord Strongheart? Exactly. So we can stay here and stare at this wreckage for as long as we like. She could have been at the center of the explosion here and it wouldn't have bent a steel will. Hello, Baroque. How you doing? I'll talk to you in a second. Let's look around first. Look at that horn-shaped transmitting device. Isn't it amazing? That's exactly what I thought when I first saw it. It makes you think, doesn't it? If only it had just been a normal horn, none of this would have happened. That's almost exactly what I thought as well. I bet I can predict what you're going to say next in that case. You're about to say, nothing ever goes to plan, aren't you? Oh no, I would never say something like that. However much I look at them, I just can't come to terms with those Temari handballs floating in the sky. I've been glaring at them constantly since we came up here. Sorry, the feelings of wanting to ride in one and wanting never to set foot in one are fighting it out inside me. But if you don't look where you're walking, you might fall from the stage. I don't think I noticed. That's how fiercely the battle inside me is raging. I think you should make peace of riding in one, Mr. Naruhodo. You really will be much safer that way. What a terrible explosion it must have been. Even the steel girders are buckled and twisted in the blast. And what they call the bird cage was right in the middle of it all, just here. But look, Mr. Naruhodo, the metal grill on the floor. Looks as though it's designed to open. It does, doesn't it? If the floor had opened at the precise moment that the explosion occurred, the birdcage could have dropped true and disappeared from sight. I don't think there's any doubt that this was a very elaborate hoax, is there? It's a trapdoor, eh? And then the cage is here now, for some reason. This wasn't here yesterday. Really? But if I'm not mistaken, it's the cage in which the victim was standing before he was apparently beamed through the air. That's right, the birdcage. According to what Professor Harebrine said in court, it's made of wood. Or more precisely, Japanese cypress, I think. And despite having been in an explosion and then falling from a great height, it's relatively unharmed. What wonderfully durable construction, wouldn't you say, Mr. Naruhodo? I understood that the forensic investigation team had taken it away yesterday to examine it. I suppose they must have brought it back here when they finished the work. But sadly, not with the body inside it. No, that's right. I know we were given strict instructions not to touch anything, but still. This is too important a piece of evidence to overlook. We might need it for the trial. Huh? Did we just stuff the whole birdcage in our pockets? What are you talking about? I mean, it's still there, obviously, but... we really could just deadass take the whole thing with us? Ah, look here, Miss Usato. Oh yes, the wood's cracked and broken a little. I suppose because it fell from such a height. Yes, from the height at which the balloon was flying, down into the crystal tower below. A fall of about 30 feet, or 9 meters, leaving the man inside tragically dead. Yeah, I don't see anything else interactable. Sorry, I had an urge, and I had to get it out. Oh, isn't it exhilarating? All these different architecture from all corners of the world. It does make you feel a bit like an explorer, doesn't it? I know it's all subjective, but the onion-shaped roofs have rather caught my attention personally. It is very subjective, isn't it? Japanese buildings with their wood and paper construction have excellent ventilation. And I've realized that British buildings, being made from brick and stone, are very strong and long-lasting. The more you know about how things are done in other countries, the more you understand your own, I feel. Oh yes, I do agree with you there. But I can't help wondering what an onion does to the roof of a building. I mean, I suppose it's playing on my mind because I don't like the taste of onions. You really oughtn't let your taste in vegetables dictate your taste in roofs, Mr. Naruhodo. Alright, Baroque. Actually, no, let's take a look at the Ferris wheel first. I hear that a ride on the Ferris wheel is a favorite romantic outing among young London couples. I think the romance would be slightly spoiled by the abject terror, personally. But then I'm not a Londoner. Are you a little scared of heights, Mr. Naruhodo? It's not that I'm scared, not at all. It's just that staying on the ground seems so much safer. Well, perhaps I shall have to ask Iris and Mr. Sholmes to accompany me on it in that case. When you put it like that, part of me does want to give it a try. Oh dear, it is complicated for you, isn't it? Who else was it that was afraid of heights again? Was it Apollo? It was Apollo, right? Ugh. Least approachable man in the world winner, 10 years in a row. Be strong, Mr. Naruhodo. Your country and your assistants stand firm behind you. Lord Van Zeeks. What? Well, beautiful weather we're having, isn't it? I thought I was making it quite clear that I didn't want to be disturbed. Apparently you Nipponese are unequipped to read those signs. Oh, I read them. So, what are you doing here? Entry to this area is prohibited. Well, the thing is... Lord Chief Justice Strongheart granted us permission to investigate, on the condition that we didn't disturb anything. And yet you've managed to disturb me. Ah! Never mind. State your business then. Come to think of it, there are quite a few things I'd like to ask Lord Van Zeeks about. Not least of which is that awful case, even though it's nothing to do with this. Ask away, Mr. Naruhodo. You won't know unless you try. What, are we really gonna bring him up? Okay, fine. So, Clint. was the name of your older brother, I understand, Lord Benzeeks. You Nipponese always have to be on guard whenever you're around. So, you've been investigating me, haven't you? Oh, no, it's not like that. Well, alright, it is a bit like that. My older brother was also a prosecutor. He was the pride of the Benzeeks family. But tragically, a vicious killer took him from us. The professor, you mean? It's something funny. That's the extent of what you've discovered, is it? I shouldn't be surprised. Sorry? There's more to it then. Lackluster work. It's very much a trademark, isn't it? You're too kind. Are you going to tar all Nipponese with the same brush next? But tell me, what's your interest in that historic incident? As it happens, Lord Benzeeks, there's a rather curious case that's come to our attention. Are you aware of the Madame Tuspel's Museum of Waxwork by any chance? I am, naturally. I believe that since last month I feature in one of the displays there, for public scorn. Of course the infamous Reaper of the Bailey would have been exhibited, wouldn't he? Well, a particular waxwork has been stolen from the place, and held for ransom. A particular waxwork? Which... Wait, you mean... Yes, it's the professor. Mr. Jones is investigating the case as we speak. I was unaware of that. He's turned as white as a sheet. Are the police trying to locate the engineer, Mr. Drebber, already? Surely that goes without saying. We're very keen to see him found as well. The trouble is, we don't have much to go on aside from the description of the man we heard in court earlier. Which, according to Professor Harebrain, was of a tall, thin gentleman who has straight white hair and wears a black monocle. So, I was just wondering. I mean, I realize it's probably not possible, but... would very much appreciate any more clues you can give us. Wow, Susato-san really knows how to take the bull by the horns. Fine, why not? I have a photograph of the man here from an investigation 10 years ago. Though it appears he already had that black monocle at the time. Hey, it's the plus and minus badges. What? Oh, no, nothing. I was just surprised that you shared that with us. We all need the man's testimony in court tomorrow. Which means we have to do everything we possibly can to track him down in the short time available. So why wouldn't I show you the photograph? What is it about Lord Benzeeks? Sometimes I just can't work him out at all. Mysterious masked man. Ah, the file I requested for the trial tomorrow. Thank you. Yeah, he's just a bit racist against the Japanese. But I mean, everyone is. Although he's mentioned that he's been snubbed by a Japanese person, so I mean that's why he's racist. But yeah, he seems like a pretty good man with a little bit of a racist streak. That's about it. Are you all right? Who is this man, Mr. Naruhodo? Lord Benzeek's apprentice, apparently. So I'm not the only one. Susato-san can see it too. Lord Benzeeks, may we speak of your apprentice for a moment? With him? Why? It's Kazuya from Tekken. Kazuya Mishima. Kazuma-sama! Kazuma. I don't believe it. Your posture, your presence. It can only be. It's you, isn't it, Kazuma-sama? I felt something strange the very first time I encountered this cloaked figure. As if I knew him somehow. Can it really be you, Kazuma? The return of the great departed soul. Wait! Too late. What's going on here? What is your interest in my apprentice exactly? You act as if you know the man or something. Well, since when has he been in your care? I don't recall you having an apprentice before I left Britain 6 months ago. Lord Strongheart introduced him to me about 3 months ago now, with instructions to mentor him as a prosecutor. But he didn't tell you why, did he? The man appears to be suffering from amnesia. He's forgotten every last detail about himself. He has amnesia? Tomorrow, he will appear in court at my side. What? He's to serve as my judicial assistant, on Lord Strongheart's orders. He'll be in court with us. Now then, unless I'm much mistaken, I believe this conversation has run its course. Oh, yes, thank you. I definitely saw a reaction there. When Susato-san called out like that, it really seemed to hit a nerve. When she called out Kazuma-sama, You'd already met that masked man, hadn't you, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes, yesterday, in fact, at Lord Van Zeek's office. I see. And if Kazuma-sama really is still alive, it means that Mr. Sholmes lied to us. I know. We need to speak with him about that. You're going to have to leave now. The forensic investigation team are due to arrive shortly. If they find you here, it will cause problems. What sort of problems? Foreign affairs problems. Well, we could do without that. Alright, we'll be on our way. Let's go, Mr. Sato. Of course. Yeah, the plot is thickening, chat. It's definitely thickening. And you know, I think that's probably a good place to stop. We had a very dramatic story drop today. And, you know, if investigation sections had to be continued, I think this would be where to be continued would pop up, you know? So yeah, good place to stop for now? I would think so. Alright, in the next session, we'll get Toby to track him down. And then we'll go from there. Yep, sounds good. And Oxford shoving over the trial. Yeah, I imagine there'll be quite a bit of it. You know, one big location, lots of talking. So yeah, probably a good place to stop then. We'll pick up where we left off in the next session. So yeah, stay tuned and I'll see you guys real soon. Peace.